beautiful morning to you, and you're welcome to Dominion Television, your channel of choice. This is Dominion Sport, where we talk all things sport on the go. We'll be looking at the local front from the world of transfer, from the NPFL as a Yimba in the duel from Crown FC right there. Also, we'll be taking a dive straight into the camp of the Super Eagles. Things are getting already settled between the players and the NFF right there. Also, we're looking straight into the Premier League fixtures that happened yesterday, and also, the results and also the fixtures for today between the Gunners Arsenal against the Tied 2 defenders Liverpool. Also, we're taking a dive straight into the world of basketball, tennis, and more on the show. I am Paul Abe Toluwanimi, and I'm not alone in the studio this wonderful morning. I have the man with unbiased analysis, Samson Balogun, in the studio this morning. Top of the morning to you, Samson.
Beautiful morning to you, Toluwanimi, and of course, a wonderful morning to our esteemed viewers out there. Thank you for joining us on the show this beautiful morning. There's a lot to talk about in the world of sport. The EPL yesterday, the camp of the Super Eagles preparing for the next phase at the AFCON. A lot to talk about, but definitely we are going to unravel and of course make it known to you right here on this show.
Definitely. All right, let's unravel the stories that making the round from the world of transfer in the NPFL. As Eyimba, I duo of Adekunle Mojid and Adegbite Sheyi, as from Crown FC stars are set to see the big move to the People's Elephant. Understand that both players are ready in a bar to finalize a deal. Interesting times ahead. Samson Balogun, there you have it. The players already are set to move from Crown FC straight down to the People's Elephant, Eyimba Football Club.
Well, I think it's a wonderful development. These two fantastic players will be leaving Crown FC even at a delicate time when they're also vying and jostling to promote to the NPFL, even though they might likely not be able to play. But then the most important thing to note here is that if you have a second-tier league and you have players so good that they can play for Eyimba Football Club of Aba, that says a lot about the quality of players we now have in the lower league, and that has always been there. Let me put it that way, because we have seen so many players move from the lower league playing for the NPFL teams, and Shooting Stars also has quite a number of them in the team right now too. And I really want to commend the Eyimba Football Club of Aba, looking beyond the players in the NPFL and say, look, let's go to the NNL. When the time comes, you see them go to the NLO to see quality players in there, because we have deposits of international players. Of players of international qualities, in all spheres of football across the country and even in Africa. The only thing that is wrong is the scouting protocol, the scouting method, and I think it is beginning to change. Dynamics are beginning to shift, and if Eyimba can go to the NNL to get players, let's see what will happen with some other teams, especially teams like Kun Khalifat, who would need to recruit since they lost 3 of their key players. So I want to believe that this player has done so well for himself. You give a good account of yourself on this play. I do tell people that you are as good as your last result, as your last performance. People will judge you based on what you did last, not what you can do in the future. Yes, it also comes into play when they want to think about long-term process. Oh, if you get this player with this quality now, what is your age? How many more years can you give, and what quality can you churn out? How sharp will your improvements will be when you join another team? These are things that we look at when we scout for players, and definitely I think Eyimba put that into consideration. These are young players playing for Crown FC. And if you look at Crown FC in the NNL so far this season, they have done amazingly well, and they've still got a couple of games right ahead of them to execute before the season ends. But be that as it may, what they've been able to do with the team so far has actually showcased them to a team like Eyimba. I don't want to believe Eyimba just woke up yesterday and said, we are going to Crown to pick players.
So there must be monitoring.
Yes, there must have been a scouting network and monitoring period where they say, oh, we've got 2 players for you here. Let them come. You can watch their clips. So maybe they come for trials and see what they can bring to the table. And the fact that they are not even there for trials, they are there to sign contracts. It shows that there has been about phases of scouting which has gone into this. Congratulations to these 2 players. Kudos to them. And there's a lot to achieve. Yes, you can actually do so well that you get a deal abroad, even though some of us are not really happy that some of our best legs are leaving the country. But if the league is not at that level yet, when you can actually retain your best players, the best thing to hope for is that they play a few 2-3 2-3 seasons for you, and then by the time they go, you find a suitable replacement, just like Yimba is doing, just like Kun Khalifa will do, just like Shooting Stars will do in the transfer market, like every other thing will do around the world. When you lose a player, you replace them.
I agree. All right, there you have it. We hope for the very best for these two fantastic duo heading to the People's Elephant right there with Yimba in the MPFL. Let's take more stories from the local front in the world of transfer. As Kano Pillars wishes to announce that the following mutual understanding, the club has amicably parted ways with striker Samuel Tiza and also midfielder Omar Sani Yakazi. Both players will now continue their career elsewhere ahead of the second stanza of the MPFL 2026 season. Sani Balogun, yet again, more players going, players coming, but this is coming from the stable of Kano Pillars.
Well, judging by the level of performance so far this season and the trouble they found themselves at the beginning of the season, especially when they played Shooting Stars, where they've had to be suspended from playing at their home stadium. We've seen a little bit of lackluster performances from Kano Pillars. And also, at the management level, I don't think they have put in so much to get the team to where it's supposed to be. I mean, where the fans would dream that Kano Pillars should be, judging by history, what they've been able to do so far since they came into being. But then, one thing is clear: when you're having crisis like this, the first thing people look at is, as a team, who are the players that are not up to standard in that team? Can we shed weight? Release some players, maybe sell them off, get more players of more quality into the team. And I think that they are in that phase right now. Don't be surprised when a few more players leave that team. I'm expecting about 6-7 players to leave the team. From Kano Pillars. Okay. And so far, they have been able to release 2. And another thing that is wrong with Kano Pillars at this time is an average age at Kano Pillars right now should be around 28 or 29. The majority of the players are in that bracket. And some of them are even over 40. That tells you, Rabiu Ali, for example, is over 40. Abdullahi Shehu is close to that. I mean, you have Ahmed Musa also in that bracket. And a few other players like that who are, in their 30s, maybe close to 30. And if you check the average age of the players in that team, some players who are really, really old are not helping the younger ones in terms of when you want to calculate the average age. So definitely, they are between, let's say, 27 to 30. That says a lot about are you still in your prime? Because sometimes for players, it's not really about the age to determine what the prime of a player. Your prime might just be your 22, 23, 24, 25, and by 26, your career is winding down. Maybe in terms of quality or maybe fitness level, you are no longer there. But definitely, I know Kano players understand what the assignment is. They're getting it done. A few more players are going to leave. I can assure you of that. They're still going to shed weight and then bring in more quality players.
All right, talking about shedding weight and bringing more quality players, that's what Kano Pillars are trying to do as they get, more and more get ready for the second half of the season in the MPFL. Let's move away from that and let's talk about the NWFL as the result for match day 5 in Group A. Happened yesterday at Damawa Queens against Rivers Angels. That game ended 3-0. Ibom Angels against Bayelsa Queens 2-1. Ekiti Queens against Niger Latels. The game ended 1-0 in favor of Ekiti Queens. And also Pace Setter against Atlant Queens. The game ended goalless. Also in the match day 5 results right there, FC Robo Queens against Yedame Queens. The game ended 1-0 for FC Robo Queens. Confluence Queens against Oshun Babes. Oshun Babes picked up the result away from 1-0. Asaba against Delta Queens against Danas Ladies. The game ended 2-0 in favor of Delta Queens. Remo Stars Ladies lost to Nasarawa Amazons on their home turf 1-0. And Abia Angels against Sunshine Queens. The game ended 2-0 in favor of Abia Angels. So let's talk about the result right there. Looking at the screen, the NWFL for Pace Setter Queens, not a win yet this season, but they finally got 1 point against Atlant Queens right there at the Lake Salami Stadium. Samson Balogun.
Well, I think it's a fine place to start for the Pace Setter Queens. I've always been one that said, look, you rushed these people too early, too soon into the NWFL, and the kind of crisis they are currently going through is bound to happen. Many would call for the head of the coach, but then what do you expect when the coach is brought on board on an emergency basis? How to scout for players, bring in a team. Most of them have never played together before as a team, and under 1 or 2 months you expect to be having results just like Remo Stars Ladies or Sunshine Queens would have, or maybe Bayelsa Queens. So these are the things we should discuss. Yes, I consider these a period for them to acclimatize to the league. Yeah, a lot of bad results will still come, and there's nothing you can do about it, because when you look at the quality of players, the thing is, as a new team, how many quality players can you attract? That's the point. So if you check the Paystar Queens, if you check their ranks, if you check the lineup, you will see that one way or the other, they are still they are still inferior to some of the biggest teams in the league, like the Remo Stars Queens. So it says a lot about how much of an effort is still going to go into this to build that team, to taste, to what, I mean, the state government has the wherewithal to actually fund the team. They have what it takes. They have a very good, training turf. They've got a fantastic pitch where they can play, same as where, Shooting Stars actually play their home games too. So they've got a section of what they needed. They've got it sorted out. All that is left is what happens on the field of play and the managerial level too. And a lot has to be put in place too. When it comes to welfareism, I don't think they are there yet. I've still, a couple of times I've seen these players wander around, on the street, and I'm wondering what exactly is going on. I mean, I'm not saying players cannot go out, but then there is a level you see some players and you are like, oh, they are being well taken care of. I'm not saying that with the Paystar Queens. And for me, it goes to an extent to say that it's becoming more and more of a disgrace to the team. I've seen, I mean, I've got a lot I cannot really talk about on the show, but definitely I've seen them in situations where I really feel bad that these players,
these professional players,
at the point, let me just cite one of the instances. I was going past Dugbe Axis and I saw some of these players walking down the street. I mean, they were just strolling. They were coming from training and coming down to where their base is. And even the base is not meant for players. I mean,
so
get them a proper apartment.
So somebody watching and want to ask you, Sam Spanogo, is it a crime to stroll?
I'm not saying it's a crime to stroll, but in that situation, it wasn't like they were just strolling. They were walking to where they were going, right? And I had a few discussions with some people close to that place and say it's a routine. I mean, some of them they do that. That goes into how much are these players being paid, and when they are being paid, is there anyone sucking away what they are getting? I've seen it happen in the MPFL where. You on paper you get 200,000, but in real life you are not 50. Getting past the 100,000,
maybe 50,
right?
At the end of the day,
because some people are there and say, "Oh, we got this job. I mean, you pay us a amount of money." It has happened before.
Yeah,
we know,
and it's still happening.
Well, yes, it's
happening.
But then we don't want to really want to say, "Oh, because this is going on now, that we cannot have a solution. We cannot get past this." One of the most important things is when you select players, is it on merit? There was, I think it was Ahmad Jupinik that goofed recently and said, look, when a particular player was to be omitted from the team, he used his own presidential slot to make sure that players in the team. I mean, that goes a lot about how are we slotting, these players into the team. It means that some people are saying, look, because I am this, I have the right to put a player in the team. There was a time, a particular person in Ibadan was a local government chairman, and a close relative has to be in that team because he is that. Right? And there's so many other people like that. By the time you look at that, you see so many average players in the team because they are cousins or brothers to oh, you are the nephew or the niece to. It doesn't have to be like that. Okay. If it is quality, go to the field of play. I will cite another instance. At Shooting Stars, there was this particular player, Tunde Aziz, who is now the mainstay DM in the team. When the season started, especially against Bayelsa United, I was telling someone, if this is what this guy has to offer, right? I don't think he's going to stay more than 6 months or 1 year in this team, because I think this player is in the team because of the slot, and because Alex Agawa is not around, probably that is why he's in the team. But lo and behold, he proved everyone wrong. Since then, he has had about 1,560 minutes of active football for Shooting Stars. He's played almost every game. Probably missed just one or thereabouts. It shows that even if someone gets you a slot, can you do it?
That's the question. Can you do it?
It's a big question. So that's where I'm going. So I'm not totally against the issue of slots. Some players are really good, and someone will say, please, I've got a player that is so good. What can you do about it? Yes, it's important. Bring them to trials. Can they do it? Yes. Give him a contract. If you cannot do it after that, let them go.
I agree. All right. And that's the update and the result coming through from the NWFL. We'll be giving you more update from that scene. Still in the story of the NWFL, we got the report that Bayelsa Queens players and officials were attacked, and after their NWFL Premiership match against Imbom Angels in Uyo, the game ended 2-1 in favor of the visitors. Samson Balogun, I think it's not something we want to be seeing, when it comes to, our own football right here in Nigeria. But it's happening again, and we hope that measures will be taken. Definitely, we'll be giving you update on that. Samson Balogun, quickly on this.
It's so sad that they had to triple the man's sleeves. I mean, it's a really sad one. But we have seen a fair share of crisis in the NPFL, and I wasn't expecting that to happen in the NWFL. I think people who watch female football are really calm and cool-headed people. Unfortunately, that did not happen in this particular game, and I'm challenging the board.
The board, I agree.
There should be a proper investigation into what happened. Is the team complicit? The home team, are they complicit? If they are complicit, who are the ones involved? There should be a permanent ban, a live ban. We don't want to see people like you close to football. Whoever did this to this man does not deserve to live among human beings, because this man is a father. I mean, he's a sport lover. He's source of livelihood depends on this. I mean, this is whoever can do this to a fellow human being can kill such person, and that person should not be allowed to go anywhere near the game of sports. You can go do that to your family at home, but not here, because this is a peace arena. This is the only thing that unites the Nigerian people, aside from so many other things that has been happening, and we have to keep it guarded. I mean, we have to guard our territory so well. So sports is not a place where an act of unseriousness and an act of what do we call it? When you practice this thuggery. We don't want this in the game of sports, and there should be thorough investigation. And whoever deserves to be sanctioned, even the team should be sanctioned. Even if they have to be kicked out of the league, it should be done. They will serve as deterrent to other people too.
All right. We hope that measures will be taken, ahead of this one, because we have seen measures taking place, when such situations arises like this. So we hope for the very best going forward. Because of our time, let's move swiftly and let's talk about the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Remember, they have a game on Saturday against the Desert Foxes of Algeria. But we got a report that the players and coaching staff of Nigeria are waiting for their bonuses. That was earlier, yesterday, stroke today. But we got a report that, these players are getting their bonuses already. Samson Balogun, my question now is, do we need to get to this stage before, these players get what they are supposed to get as usual? They are playing the game, they've won all games. Do they need to voice out before they get paid? That's my question. And why are we still battling such situations at a stage like this? Remember, before DR Congo game, before the World Cup ticket game, we had situations like this. Now, we are getting straight to the quarterfinal against Algeria, and we got a report like this. Why are we still facing such situations, Samson Balogun?
Well, we'll continue to have this kind of crisis.
Why?
That's what we'll continue to get. We'll start from who are the people running Nigerian football, Nigerian sports generally. These are more like political jobbers. They are political merchants. Let me say sports merchants too. And most of them are scavengers who just found their way into the sporting arena. And unfortunately, it has become more and more of an epidemic, because we are repeating and recycling the same people. And it's quite unfortunate. Now, another thing is, you see, most people will talk about patriotism. And I will ask a question. As a vulcanizer out there, if you have pumped someone's tire and it tells you, because don't you love me? Because you love me, I should walk away without getting paid. And someone walks into your eatery and says, look, because we just had a fantastic conversation, it means we are even. So I deserve to eat, and I should just walk away and not pay you. So who will pay your own? If you rented the shop, who will pay? I mean, who will pay the bills? And definitely who will pay your members of staff? You see, patriotism comes to play only when you've gotten all that you deserve. I mean, nobody should cry to get what he deserves. You can only beg to get what you don't deserve. Right? Okay, you are not owing me, and I can tell you, oh, perhaps I'll be needing 100,000 naira from you. Please, I need it. Right? So I can beg you to get that from you. But I should not beg you if you are owing me 100,000 and say, oh, perhaps, please, I need my money. Please send it to me. I don't have to beg you.
I think
because it's my right.
So some people, I think it's not the culture, because normally, you see the culture of I'm owing you. I mean, I'm owing you money. and I don't pay you the money, you now have to beg me to please, can you please send me my money?
And just pay me part of it.
Because that's what it looks like now. That's what it looks like for the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
You see, the standard procedure around the world says if you have rendered a service, right? If you have offered a service, you deserve to be paid. If you have sold a product, you deserve to be paid. Now, payments might not necessarily mean cash. It could be barter arrangements. It could be that that person pays you in kind for something else totally. And unfortunately, football is just like that. You play football, someone pays you money, and that's the case with these people. They are not even getting as much as they would get if they are actually with their club sides, right? But they have actually played these games and they have agreed, oh, we are getting 10,000, 15,000 as match bonuses. There's no need to delay. That's one thing I say about people who don't prepare and they prepare to fail. You are going to a tournament. This is AFCON, for crying out loud. This is not even an invitational tournament.
Yeah.
This is AFCON. You have known that you will be playing in the AFCON for how many months? There must have been a process. The first thing you did was to go to Fez to say, oh, we need an hotel for these players to stay between so day and so day. Yeah. After that, you have actually spoken to CAF or maybe to the Moroccan authority. Yeah. Oh, if for any reason we are going to go to Marrakesh, we need a place to stay. Yeah. If for any reason we are going to go to so place, we need a place to stay. And that had been arranged before now. I don't think when they got to Fez, they were looking for an hotel. No. It was prepared, pre-planned. Yeah. And after that, the next thing that should not be delayed is logistics. Oh, who will take the players from the hotel to training facility and then from the training facility back to the hotel? Oh, we want to eat. What will we eat? Who will provide food? And who are we paying to get that done for us? What other miscellaneous or logistics do we need? How much are we earmarking for that? And who is going to be responsible? Oh, we need so thing. Oh, run to town, go get this thing for us. These are things that should be readily available. And the most important thing of them all, you have prepared an hotel. Not for ghosts, not for goats, not for animals. You have prepared these hotels for human beings, right? They deserve to be paid because they are coming to render a service. So why would you say, oh, after playing also number of games, nobody has paid anybody a dime? I don't think that happens anywhere around the world except for Nigeria, because this is the only country where when you wake up in the morning, you pray for NEPA to bring lights. When you wake up in the morning, you pray that 2 + 2 becomes 4. Because originally, you don't need prayers. It is there. 2 + 2 is 4. I mean, that's basic mathematics. And the basic mathematics here also is that when someone renders a service, he or she deserves to be paid. So it's becoming more and more of an anomaly. And the most painful part of this is that it has repeated itself time and time again, over and over again.
Now, Samson Balogun, before we move on from this, now does this dampen the morale of the players going into the game against Algeria? Looking at the form Algeria are on right now. Also, you look at, we talked about the situation of Victor Osimhen, which is settled. Now we moved on again to the same another situation of unpaid bonuses. Does this dampen the morale of the players, and what we the fans, what should we expect ahead of this game quickly?
You see, people at the ends of affairs at the NFF and every other sporting sector in Nigeria, I call them saboteurs. They are distractors, right? We are going to this tournament off the back of missing out of the Mondial. We are not playing at the World Cup. And the only thing you can give to the Nigerian people and make them happy is to at least advance to the biggest level at the AFCON. This is the joy they do. At least when they think about the Mondial, when it finally comes, they know, we played at the AFCON and we did so well. DR Congo, they are knocked Nigeria out of the tournament. It's even out of the AFCON. So, I mean, that you are actually ahead of them. You know that, if not because we made few mistakes at the earlier stages of the qualification, we probably will be at the Mondial. Now, I call them distractions because at this time, I don't think we need all these petty issues. Yes, the players must have had their own, fair share of blames. Talking about Victor Osimhen, Ademola Lookman, not getting it right on the field of play, and they had to become a face-off. But then, after all that, do we need these players will be asking for bonuses before you pay them? After every game,
I'm trying to understand.
You pay them match allowances, you pay them appearance allowances, all the bonuses put together, you give to them. If they are goal bonuses, you pay them, because that gives them the impetus to do more in the next game.
But Samson Balogun, why are we not hearing from other teams? Why is it just Nigeria we are listening for? What the problem is, why is it just Nigeria? Or maybe the media in other teams are just silent about it?
No, it's not like they are silent. There are two ways to this thing. Right? Some teams will say, especially for the English national team, they will say, oh, you are going to a tournament. Let's calculate how many games you play, right? and how long you stay in the tournament to know how much you earn. Immediately the tournament ends, you don't need anybody. In fact, you don't need to ask any question. You find your not 1 penny less, no penny, 1 penny more. You find that in your account, which you have prepared, you have provided. And for some teams, they pay you as you go. Okay, you have played the game. This is what is accrued. Then you get
your pay,
right? So this do happen. But in some cases, where you know that, if after this tournament, if you don't hold them responsible, you will not get these monies anymore. And it will be your children that will now be crying to the federal government after 30 years and say, our father has died. The government owed him so amount of money because he played in 1980. That's madness.
That's madness.
Right? But this is the country where madness thrives. I mean, everyone is, there's a little bit of madness in everything people do. And then people now justify nonsense. Thinking, because that is the narrative they have pushed to you that they want you to believe. Someone will now be pushing the agenda, these players are not patriotic.
They're not patriotic.
That's what you find in the papers.
Yes, that's what you're saying now.
But as a broadcaster, as a journalist, are you even thinking in the right direction that, if these players are asking for money, is it not because they have actually offered the service?
Offered the service, and the service was well rendered. Because they won all games.
All games. All these bonuses should have been paid to them. But the fact remains that, as I said earlier, we've got political jobbers, square pegs in round holes at the corridor of power, and of course at the helms of affairs with that, in the sporting arena. And this is what we'll continue to until you change it. I'm not saying that when you want to change now, you go and bring an Austin J.J. Okocha, because it might even be worse. We have seen what Ewan can do at the Yimba. And we have seen what Samuel Eto'o can do with the Cameroon national team. Prior to the tournament, they had about 2 coaches. One is saying I've not been sacked. I've selected my own players. The other one, so it's all everywhere. But the most important thing is, can you leave the screening of this job to people who have no vested interest, right? Who don't have nothing to lose or gain in who gets the job and who gets it done. So these are things we need to be looking at.
All right, let's move swiftly away from that because of our time. The Super Eagles of Nigeria is becoming a major tussle. But let me inform you that our payments are very much ongoing at this point in time, and we hope for the very best that this does not dampen the morale of the boys against the Desert Foxes of Algeria ahead of the big clash right there in AFCON for the semi-final spot right there. Moving away from that, we got comment also. Let's just take a few comments. Someone is saying, Dow Tips is saying, do this player play for money? Do they play for pride? It is getting boring now. Just like you said, Samson Balogun. Another person is saying, Abdul is saying, this is the real Nigeria I know. We won't be surprised if Nigeria knocks us out on Saturday. We are always one match away from self-distraction. And also, Black Panther is saying, do these players play for money or play for pride of the nation? So I think these are the madness. You're talking about Samson Balogun. Also, you look at the screen. Another person is saying, "What is all this? Why do we self-sabotage like this at this point?" Honestly, my heart is no longer with the game. I don't even care whether we win or not. I don't care. Again, our NFF is a very somehow football body. What is this? So the question is, it's popping up.
That's what you get when people permit any outness in at the corridor of power. You see, nobody is calling anybody to order. And unfortunately, FIFA, have a standing rule that government do not interfere in sport. But there should be a level with which the government can actually have a say. If you are doing anyhow, you have to see anyhow. Someone should ask you.
You can't bring disgrace to the nation.
It's becoming more and more of an embarrassment. I mean, just a few months ago, just less than 2 months ago, we had this same issue where players said we are not going to play, and that affected them against DR Congo. Eventually, they crashed out. They could not qualify for the next phase of the qualifying series. And just like you said, I mentioned that this is a distraction that we do not need at this time. And here we are. We already have that distraction. So would the players be able to forge ahead, even after getting the money? Would they be able to forge ahead and shift their attention from that distraction and play their hearts out in the next game? That's another big question. But what they are running away from is that even if they crash out or win the tournament, let's get our money now. We don't want our children to now start calling another maybe Samson Balogun will now be the president at that time now saying, you are owing our dad 2025.
Nah. That's what it's not what we want. All right, let's move away from that swift. Let's talk about the Premier League. The big game is upon us tonight. Arsenal, the title. Would I say pretenders? Because something, I gave a definition of pretenders yesterday. But let me say Arsenal are on the chase for 8-point lead if they are to beat the defending champions Liverpool tonight at the Emirates Stadium. Samson Balogun, looking at this right now, Do you think Liverpool can do it against Arsenal tonight? I remember what Dominic Szoboszlai did at the nick of time right there at the Anfield Stadium. What would happen tonight? How do you think Mikel Arteta will set up his boys, looking at what Manchester City has been able to do in 3 games, dropping point. Aston Villa also dropping point yesterday. For you, what does Mikel Arteta need to do tonight to win against Ancelotti boys going into this big game?
Well, you can. When the last time they played, Liverpool was going through a very bad curve. You know, it was a difficult learning curve for them. They were really going through
and people
much.
And people felt that Liverpool was on the edge of victory because
Right.
they were churning out results in late minutes. But you said, "Come on, this is the point of this."
I said it that the team I'm seeing. There is no conviction that they are likely going to maintain this momentum, and then they had a dip in form. Teams found them out, started giving them problems, which was beyond what Ancelotti could manage at that time. But between then and now, they have been able to evolve. They have not had an all good set of games, but what really happened was that they were able to change a few things and they got better at it, and they are still going to give Arsenal a very big problem in this game. Now for Arsenal, this is the time. You see, if you top the table till December, yes, you have done well. You have won half of the league. Yeah, so you have one half. The other half can actually attract the half you have and take it away from you if care is not taken. Now, January is a very busy period. Most likely, they are going to play 5 games in the EPL, and if not 5, there will be a Champions League game that comes in with it. And if Arsenal can win 3 of these games, that will put them in a very good place. Don't forget that Manchester City, also dropped points, and they are still likely going to drop points just like Arsenal will drop points. But then, for Arsenal, what kind of momentum can they build in January? Right? If you're able to escape the storm in January, that places you about 80% certainty of winning the title. Otherwise, there will be a problem. If they drop points against Liverpool today, trust me, in 5 games, Manchester City will catch up.
Your prediction quickly.
Well, it will end up 2-2 draw between these two teams.
A draw.
Yes.
All right. Let's see how that one's going to pan out. Also, you can drop your predictions in the comment section. Tonight, Arsenal against Liverpool. What do you think would edge out in this feisty encounter between these two teams? Quickly, we got a few minutes to wrap up the show. Let's look at the result. Burnley against the Manchester United. That game ended in a 2-2 draw. Benjamin Sesko getting a brace in that game. Newcastle had to do it in the nick of time against Leeds United, 4-3 right there. Having Barnes getting that one. Also, Manchester City against Brighton of Albion. The game ended 1-1. Igor Thiago is doing something fantastic in the Premier League this season. That game ended 3-0 in favor of Brentford. And also Antoine Semenyo had to sign off with a goal, last minute goal right here, for Bournemouth, and saying goodbye because we'll be having his medical today for Manchester City. Also, Fulham had to do it against 10-man Chelsea. Marco Cucurella getting a red card in that game, and Fulham had to do that one 2-1. And Liam Russell was in this, the stand watching that game. Also, Crystal Palace against Aston Villa. That game ended goalless. Also, FC Barcelona through to the final of the Copa del Rey. The game ended in a whooping 5-0 against Athletic Bilbao. Quickly, let's take a basketball update. Also, you look at the world of basketball. Steph Curry, thumping straight 120-113. A fantastic one for Steph Curry at 31 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 3-pointers. Also, you look at Keldon Johnson, also 21 points for the Lakers, 91-107. Moving swiftly, also Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, fantastic player, over the last season, fantastic one, 129-125, fantastic season for them. Samson Balogun, before we wrap up the show, let me just ask you quickly, for you tonight, Liverpool, can they do it against Arsenal?
Well, I just said it might likely end in a draw, 2-2 draw, because they both need the points. They might just share the spoils eventually. All right.
Let's see that one out. And that's going to be at the end of the show this wonderful morning. I say big thank you to the fans. And make sure you're following us on all social media platforms. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you drop your comment, and make sure you share. Let somebody know about Dominion Television. I am Paul Abe Toluwanimi. I say big thank you to the producer. I say big thank you to the crew. Samson Balogun, one word before you go.
Well, it's really nice to be here to talk sports once again, but most definitely keep doing sports because it's really nice. And definitely, if you're going to stake wisely.
Okay, stake wisely. That's the word. All right, we're going to see you again tomorrow. Fantastic edition of the Friday show. Bye for now.